Lifeless Vanguard is a twin-stick shooter developed and published by Vibrant Allegory, and was released on Steam on April 4th, 2019. Lifeless Vanguard is a game that can be jumped into almost immediately upon launching the executable. The rules are simple. Survive an onslaught of enemy ships for as long as you possibly can, and try to make it to the end of the game. The game has 9 stages as well as 3 boss fights, and you'll have to get through all of them in one go in order to succeed. The controls are easy to figure out. If you're using a controller, then the left analog stick controls your ship, while the right analog stick controls which direction your ship shoots. It automatically shoots where you're aiming, so you don't have to worry about pressing an additional button for that. The left bumper button will make your ship do a quick dash in whatever direction you aim your ship, and the right bumper will unleash a bomb that surrounds your ship with a blast that will greatly damage enemies and destroy all projectiles that are close to the ship. Both of these features are unlimited in use, but come with a cooldown in between uses. These are both very important and can save you from certain death often. My only complaint here is that I wish that the dash and bombs had gauges that would show when they were ready to use again. The graphics remind me of something kind of like Geometry Wars and are very colorful. All of the enemies are easily distinguishable from one another, which is great because each enemy brings a different threat. Some just fly around aimlessly, others will fire bullets or homing rockets or even lasers, while some will try and drill straight through the player ship with a swift dash towards it. This variety of enemies made the gameplay intense all of the time. I had to be looking in every direction around my ship and be shooting, bombing, and dashing everywhere to keep from taking damage. After enemy ships are destroyed, they might drop experience points that can level up the ship's cannons. The more these level up, the more shots will be fired at once. The key is to try to not get hit, because if you do, then your ship loses a ton of XP. If you do get hit, then things slow down for just a second, and you can still salvage a good chunk of the XP that was lost. This reminded me of the Sonic games, where when he gets hit, he has to try and get back as many rings as he can before they disappear. Other items dropped by enemies are multipliers to help increase the player's score quicker, and also health points. The health points are the most rare out of all of them, but probably the most important next to the experience points, because Lifeless Vanguard is by no means easy. The player only gets 5 hits, and then it's game over. This means the player has to make it through all of the 9 stages with just 5 hit points, so you have to make them all count. The good news is that the game gets a bit easier the more you play, because you start to learn the enemy types and which ones to try to eliminate first. The game is no walk in the park though. I only made it to the second boss in my play session. I felt really accomplished though, because before I was struggling just to make it to the first boss. This game is very much like other shoot 'em up games. Tough as nails, but rewarding if you stick with it. The bosses reminded me of a bullet hell game, where you will be concentrating less on the boss itself and more on guiding your ship through the massive amounts of bullets and rockets coming your way. I really enjoyed the intensity of these fights, because beating a boss while being only one hit away from a game over felt really satisfying. So would I recommend Lifeless Vanguard? Yes, I would. This title reminded me of some of the top-down twin-stick shooters that I used to pick up and play back on my PlayStation 3, like Everyday Shooter. Even though the game is tough and you might not succeed the first times you play, it's a lot of fun to play a few games and see if you can get further than you have before. Also, there's a leaderboard, so you can always try and aim for a higher score as well. So if you like twin-stick shooters, then check out Lifeless Vanguard.